Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and I'm so glad that you all have tuned in. We got a lot of interesting and exciting news coming up. One of the reasons you haven't seen a video in a while, I spent a couple days in the hospital, and thank God they didn't find anything, but I'm sure I'm going to get a bill for everything that they didn't find. But anyway, I'm one of those guys, it's hard to get me to go to the hospital because 9 times out of 10 when I go to the hospital, they don't find anything, which is still good that they didn't find anything. But in the aftermath of that, I end up with an infection that I got from the procedures that they did to me at the hospital. So, not trying to discourage any of you guys from going to the hospital, but I can tell you this, I'm just glad to be back in one piece. So what have we been doing? We've been working on the Mustang. Some of the items that we are noticing in the aftermarket are nowhere near, I won't say just the quality, but not even being the same pieces sometimes. They just look completely different. And one of the dilemmas that I had when I removed the front fenders, I originally bought 2 new fenders that when I put them on the car, I did not like the way that they fit. I did not like the fact that the metal was so much thinner that if you leaned up against the car, the front fenders might dent. So I did end up reusing the driver's side, which was in very good shape to begin with, and I actually bought a used replacement for the passenger side. So in the last videos you saw where I had sanded that down. So I went and got some primer, and I will show you a picture of that right here. Spray Max 2K epoxy primer in black, 368 0034, 368 0034. And here's you push in the bottom, push that in for the activator. Don't do what I did and just start spraying and realize, I didn't put the activator in. And I will tell you this, if you use this primer, please read the directions, as I did not read the directions carefully. There is apparently an activator that has to be, you have to push in this little button on the bottom and release the activator into the primer, and then the primer must be used by a certain amount of time because it only has a certain amount of shelf life. I didn't know. I promise you guys, I am not a body man, and I'm finding out that some of these things with the body can be very painful. So I actually didn't use the primer correctly, but we got primer on the fender, and my main concern was to make sure that we got all that bare metal completely protected from getting rust. So we did that, and you'll see a couple of pictures of that in this video. But one of the issues that we found when we initially took the driver's side fender off, when I took the fender off, now some of you Foxbody guys will automatically know what these are. Some of you guys who are Maverick guys that usually tune in for Maverick content, you're not going to know what this is, but this is a lower fender extension. It goes right up under in the wheel well area, about like that. And it basically meets the front bumper and the fender, and it all ties it together. But what happens when you take these out, they have studs in them. Now these are made into this actual piece, which is made out of a composite. This one, as you can see in the video, is already been busted and crusted here. It was almost in 2 pieces on the side, and I was figuring on maybe fiberglassing that in. But getting back to this piece, the fenders that I originally purchased, I ended up selling those to one of the gentlemen in my area who is putting together a Foxbody with a Chevrolet engine in it. Now that's all I got to say about that. And I didn't like those fenders, but like I said, this piece here was broken. So I looked online to see if I could find these original pieces like this. These, when I checked them out originally, actually were almost more money than I paid for the 2 front fenders. I saw these somewhere. They were, I want to say $140 for these two composite pieces that fit on the bottom of the fender. And I wasn't impressed with that price because I felt like that's way too much for these plastic pieces. Well, I decided to fix this, but here, what we have now, when I took the passenger fender off, this one came off perfectly. Both studs are intact. There are no cracks, very few scratches. It's not broken at all. I may put this up on eBay to sell, or I'm going to use what we found at LMR. You all who are Mustang people know the LMR late model Mustang restoration place. Now, these are the replacements. Now, they are very light compared to this. I would say maybe half the weight. I'm not going to weigh it because that's not that important. The studs are, I don't know, they're not real sturdy. I may put some JB Weld or something on that to make it a little more, but let's just say they're not nearly as hardy as the originals. This is probably ABS plastic, so it's not going to be as durable as the original equipment. And so here is my, I don't want to say dilemma, but here is my situation. If I keep these, first of all, before I decide to keep or use one or the other, I'm going to see how they fit. And they look pretty close in design. These new pieces, they are, now, to put it in a price perspective, these reproduction plastic items are $42. So, you can't beat that. But what I could do, if I'm going to use a new one on one side, then I'm most likely going to use a new one on the other. What I could do is keep this one, which is the passenger side, and see if I can find another original piece for the driver's side. And then in which case I would sell these. But I'm pretty sure if I go online right now and list this one for between $50 and $75 for this one, I promise you it will sell because they are a hot item. So that's where we are with restoration parts, and of course the new ones that are lighter and cheaper come with new hardware, and that's a plus. And that's one of the issues that we have had tearing down the Mustang. While the car is not rusty, all of these bolts like this, I've already cleaned this up, and I had to be very, very careful because what happens, the parts are in good shape, but the screws and the nuts on them are they're just rusty. They are. The screws rust, and then even when you put WD-40 on, you're backing them out, and then the piece that you need to, the bolt that's maybe embedded into one of these things like this, instead of the nut coming off, the whole thing came out like this one. The whole stud came out of the original piece. So even if I fix this part on this old one, I still have that to fix as well. And I just, fixing those things as opposed to finding them in good shape, I don't know. It's really kind of up in the air. So that's where we are with those items. I did earlier get out there, power washed all of the area under the front fenders. It's not rusty, but a lot of, road grime, dirt, and debris that has collected in there over years. We power washed all of that out. And I set the new fenders and not new fenders, the original fender and the salvage fender on the passenger side. And what I found, now it's the exact same fender off of a different car. These fenders, I don't know how back in the day they made these cars and they got them to put together and fit as nice as they did, because I put that fender, which is in excellent shape, onto the car and sat it on there. The door gap was perfect. The gap along the hood was perfect. But when I got to the front nose cone, the nose cone is like, there's like a 1/4 inch below the top of the fender. Now, we're going to have to do a lot of pushing, pulling, no swearing, because we don't do that, right? But yeah, it's going to take some blood, sweat, and tears to get that other fender to line up on that side. One of the one of the bolts, and you'll see in the video, one of the bolts that bolts the nose cone onto the front of the fenders, one of those screws, one of the bolts in there, and it's made into the back of the nose cone. And the same thing as with that, we started unbolting the bolt, and then the screw starts turning. Now that is one of those blind screws that doesn't even have you know, a head on the back of it. It's just a flat piece, and what it's doing, it's spinning, and then I couldn't get it off, so I ended up having to cut one of the studs off, and I hope I have enough stud left to get a nut on there to bolt that one side up. But yeah, we are busy, and once we get these two fenders on in a decent, I mean, I'm not trying to completely line it up so that it's, you know, ready to go, because the whole car, once we get the drivetrain swapped, is going to go to be painted anyway, so we'll have to blow everything back apart. I just want to make sure that everything is fitting nicely before we do that, so that we don't have more work to do when it does come back from body and paint. But are about to install the new fenders, get them lined up so that will be done and out of the way. But before we do all that, we're going to clean completely under the fender wells and paint all that area with a rust resistant black paint, so that will look all neat and nice. Really had a lot of fun times getting the fenders off. Some of the stuff gets rusty, some of the stuff breaks, and we'll talk about that a little bit later too. But yeah, we got the fender off, got it all sprayed down with some degreaser. We're going to hit it with the power washer, then we're going to let it dry out here in the sun. Since it is about 100 degrees today, it shouldn't take too long. One of the things we ran into is these screws here that are permanently installed in here. What happens is you get the nut that's solid on there, and you try to crank it, and then the whole stud and everything else turns. This one right here, we had to cut the bolt off of it. Not sure if I even have enough bolt left on there to bolt that back up, but we'll address that in the rebuild. But for now, let's get it power washed. Hey guys, out in the garage today. It is hot as I don't know what out here. I tried working a little bit earlier. When I got in the car, it said 105 degrees, and it's still at least in the 90s. It's going to be that way for the next few days, but I want to get some primer down on the front end of the car, because we've got some goodies on the way. Yes, the front suspension for the most part is going to be here. One of the things that we're not going to be able to get is the K-member, which is an integral part of what we're going to be doing. Not sure when that's coming back online. I did put in a notice to notify me when it does come back in stock, but until then, we've got plenty of other stuff that we can do. So let's turn the camera around and show you what we're working on. In the continuing saga of the door handle slash striker dilemma that we've had, I end up having to purchase some new door handles. Sorry, they're dirty. This car has been sitting for a while, but I put new door handles, at least one on the passenger side, and it fits really nice. It's nice. Door sets really nice. Not going to put the other one on just because we're going to paint the car, and I don't want to put them on and have to take them back off once we get to that stage. But as you can see, this Foxbody is virtually rust free, even underneath you know, all the creases and things like that. Yeah, you're gonna have that little stuff in there from time to time. But considering this is a 1987 car, she's looking right good. No rust in the places that you want to be aware of. If you're buying a used Foxbody, such as the shock towers, no rust at all. And yeah, so what we're going to do is get in here right now and spray some primer over these areas just to protect it a little more. But we're still go ahead on the Godzilla swap. One of the issues that we have right now is supply. Now, Godzilla engines, I can buy them. I could buy one tomorrow for right around somewhere between $7,500 and $8,000. Not sure after taxes. I wouldn't want to go that far into, you know, because I'm not really ready to get it yet. I do still want to see what Ford is going to release, how much their Megazilla crate engine is going to be. I want to see how much that is. There are other companies out there right now that have some really nice Godzilla engines that have had the pistons and rods changed, new stage 1 cam in them, and all kinds of things, anywhere from 525 all the way up to 625 horsepower I've seen available crate engine wise, and those prices range anywhere from I want to say 13,000 all the way up to as high as you want to go, because they already have Godzillas that have Whipple superchargers on them. Yeah, and I think there's one I saw one that has a I want to say a Whipple on it, and it's making 1,000 horsepower. But you got to have about 35 grand to purchase that engine, and I promise you, I don't have 35 grand for an engine. So what we're going to do, one of the main key pieces that we still need is the Godzilla swap K-member. Now, in the past, I have been a real fan of UPR products. My other Foxbody that we did the UPR K-member chromoly with the chromoly A-arms and a whole UPR setup. And on my previous Fox, the Pro Street car that we had, we used strange struts and also strange springs. But there are a few more things available now than it was then. That was the go-to back when I did this. But after I did all of my homework and all, I did call UPR products just out of curiosity to see, hey, you guys, I've used you guys in the past. Is there any plans for you guys to manufacture a Godzilla swap K-member for the Foxbodies? Because they have K-members for LS motors in the Foxbody, big block Chevrolets in the Foxbody, everything you can imagine going in the Foxbody. But when the person that I asked, now I'm not going to say that this person may or may not know everything about what's going on at UPR, but I asked him, I said, does UPR products have any intentions on building a K-member for the Godzilla swap in the Foxbody anytime in the near future? And he said, absolutely not. And I told him, hey, I've always bought you guys products, but I need that for this swap. He says, no, we're not going to make one. And he didn't say much else. And I said, okay, well, thank you very much. But right now, the only place that you can get that I'm aware of, that you can get a Foxbody K-member for the Godzilla swap is on at Team Z Racing. And if you go to LMR, they sell them and they're on back order. Now, I did put my name on the list. When they do come back in stock to inform me, then I can purchase that. But for now, Team Z doesn't have any. And I did try calling them to see when they were going to have those out. And I got an answering kind of service, and somebody will get back to you soon, and no one ever came. And I get that, because a lot of these places are having to have all their employees, at the helm, working, getting these products out, and there's not a lot of extra people to answer the phone, and I get that. So we'll have to see if we can get a UPR K member anytime soon. But in the meantime, what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead, get the rest of the suspension, leave the K member that's in there. Now, I have a 2.3 liter 4-cylinder engine in this Mustang. That's what it came with. It also came with a T5 5-speed transmission. Now, I've never had a 4-cylinder Mustang. This is a first for me. Never wanted one. I could always get a V8 one. But as far as getting a coupe and knowing that I was going to take all the other stuff out anyway, this is the only affordable way to do it, in my opinion. You may get I don't believe in luck, but you might be fortunate enough to find somebody that has a coupe, a V8 coupe, that's going to sell it to you very cheap. But let me tell you, I looked for a long time and I never found any. And I still haven't really seen any that were affordable, that were in the shape of the car that I have. So we're going to get the rest of the suspension, other than the K member and the A arms. And we're going to install that and set the ride height on what I have in there now. Because the 4-cylinder definitely is going to weigh way less, of course, than Godzilla V8. But I want to get that suspension set up so that when I get the K member, I'll know about where the shocks need to be and all that. And I can get the ride height down. Right now, and you're going to see in this video, the Mustang sets up so high in the front, it looks like it's leaving the line of the drag strip. And I don't know what springs someone has put in there. Maybe they're V8 springs. I don't know. But when I when I look at it and I see the front end is like, most people would drive by, oh, that car doesn't have an engine in it because it's sitting up so high in the front. But yeah, we got some stuff ordered, and I'm not going to tell you exactly about that. You'll see that in the next video. But hey guys, before we close this video down, I want you guys to help me do something. Now, I told you guys who've been tuning in to this NotchO project, Foxbody, that I was going to paint this car basically a raspberry metallic red. I've had a change of heart. I've seen a lot of colors out there that I like, so I'm going to keep the color of this car in the Ford family, but there are a number of colors that I really like. So I'm going to show you some colors right now, and I'm going to number the colors. And I want you guys to comment with the number of the color. You can even say the name of the color, because I'm going to put the name and a number on each color. Help me decide. I want to hear what you guys have to say, and we'll just vote on it. And I'll take to heart you guys' comments, and we'll see what color we're going to paint this. But we're going to keep it in the Ford family. So in case, we run into issues with having to match up paint later on, it'll be a color that's readily available through Ford. Nothing custom like that. But yeah, look at these colors. Let me know what you think. But anyway, remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Have a blessed week.